Welcome to Khmer Voices, where we shine a spotlight on the achievements of the Cambodian diaspora around the world. I'm your host, Wendy, aka Vanny. If you love wine and want to know what would pair well with certain Cambodian food, then this is the episode for you. Today, I chat with a wine expert, Cheata Nao. With over 15 years in wine, selling, buying, and teaching, she is making a career transition. She's making the move into spreading her love for Cambodian food through catering, private dinners, and pop-up events. As a fellow wine geek, it was fun learning how she got into wine. I'm in BC and she's in Alberta, so different provinces in Canada, but it's a small world, the wine industry is, and you'll know what I'm talking about later on in the episode. Now, is it just me, or do you also find it exciting and really inspirational talking to someone who's making a leap into something new, especially after spending 15 years in an industry and being known as an expert and being very good at it? Cheata strives to influence the lexicon of the response to, what do you feel like for dinner? She really wants Cambodian food to be part of the consideration, which unfortunately isn't for most non-Cambodians. I hope you enjoy my chat with Cheata from Cheata Cooks Cambodian.
I'm just starting trying to bring awareness of Cambodian cuisine in Edmonton through pop-ups in the city, cooking classes. So I was doing cooking classes with a company out here called Get Cooking, and during the pandemic, she was doing them. Obviously, everything was like online, but now the pandemic's over. She's able to do back to like in-person classes. And yeah, I'm trying to do private dinners. So I'm just trying to like kind of grassroots, one person at a time, learning about Cambodian food. And it's, one dinner at a time. And yeah, and it's been going really well so far. So far. And I'm hoping to, continue to get that going. Like, I love it when I just had the cooking class I did online a couple of years ago. I had when I posted I was doing another cooking class, and the one that took the class previously sent a message and said, "Oh my God, like we have beef luklak like at least once a week now after taking your class." And that was like, yay, that's exactly what I wanted. I just want people to like start thinking about Cambodian food as like something in their repertoire, like I always think like, oh, I kind of feel like curry tonight, and I'll make an Indian curry, or I want pad thai, and I just wanted people to start thinking Cambodian food that way. Like, oh yeah, let's make Cambodian beef luklak or buk lahong, and start thinking of it like just like every other Asian cuisine, that they're like, it just becomes, natural to them and just part of their like daily repertoire, weekly repertoire. That is just like, all right, yeah, beef luklak, that's Cambodian, let's do it. Kathio, let's try that. And so I'm just trying to, one family at a time, one dinner at a time, one pop-up event at a time. Yeah.
So I want to go back to the very beginning. You are based in Edmonton. Does your family live there too?
Yeah. So yeah, my family is all out here. So like my parents, and I have one brother. My mom's family, they actually immigrated to Philadelphia. So like my mom's side of the family all lives in Philly, and they all live like in South Philly. And so like my mom and dad they didn't meet in Cambodia. So they met at the refugee camp in Thailand was where they actually met. And then my dad had learned English. And so he was helping the Canadian government with like some translations with people in the refugee camp. And so they offered him, it's like, would you like to immigrate to Canada? So he got originally sent to Ontario. Then my mom, like entire family, they ended up going to Philly. So then my dad ended up going down to Philly to marry my mom down there. So they had their wedding in Philly. And then they kind of had to decide, do we want to live in Canada or do we want to live in the States? And my dad kind of convinced my mom to come up to Canada. And so they were in Ontario for a little bit. And I can't remember, not sure how they ended up in Edmonton, but like they made their way to Edmonton. And yeah, we've been here since, I was born in 87. So my parents have been in Edmonton since 85. Yeah, 85, okay. 86. Yeah, so I was born and raised in Edmonton. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool. And then you ended up in Vancouver for a bit.
Yeah, I wanted to go to university outside of Alberta. Growing up, my parents were, I mean, I love my parents, but like my childhood was very strict, and I was ready to kind of get out away from my parents, and new university would be a great way to kind of do that. So I only applied to two schools. So I applied to UBC and I applied to U of T because I was like, I'm
Mm.
not applying to U of A because I know if I get into the U of A, I would somehow be guilt tripped into staying in Alberta. And yeah, so I got into UBC, and it was, yeah, I moved to right after high school, lived on campus, and yeah, I love Vancouver. I loved UBC, and I think actually my relationship with my parents was better because of that, because now we kind of had to force to communicate with one another properly, and actually talk to each other, and I had to, make arrangements to come home, so trips were like more meaningful that way. And I think it actually really helped my relationship with my parents, being kind of like
Mhm.
forced to talk to each other because I moved away. But yeah, I love Vancouver, and I loved everything about UBC, and I'm the only one in my family that's gone to university, so my parents were very excited and proud about that. And really, the only one of my kind of like close childhood friend group of Cambodian people that did the university route
Oh,
as well.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, growing up in Edmonton, was there a big community of Cambodians there?
Yeah, there was like and I think it's very similar to a lot of other, places as well. Like immigrants seem to like find each other, and they all start to like sort of live in the same neighborhoods. So yeah, like there's a bunch of us growing up, and we kind of lived in this area in Edmonton, like McDougall and Queen Mary, that sort of got dubbed like there's like this park that we would call like Pak Mai, because it's like all the Cambodians would go to this park after schools. Like the dads would go and play. Oh my god, what's the game with like it's almost like lawn bowling. The mamas and stuff would go and make like all the food that you can like sell at the park. So there was actually a pretty big Cambodian community
Oh, very cool.
out here, which was great. And yeah, like in a bunch of like, so like a lot of my close friends that I'm still friends with now, like we kind of
Uh,
all lived in. At one point, there was a block with like three apartment buildings, and like each of us all of our families all lived in like one of the apartment buildings,
uh-huh.
and we would just like go over to each other's houses all the time, and just like doors were unlocked and you just like walk in to those. So it was, yeah, it was great. Like we
So
all,
life was like this from childhood to university?
yeah, childhood till, yeah, I think around like high school things started to get a little like, separated out a little bit. Some people started moving away, like families that started making more money and
Mm.
dream like being able to buy houses. So a few like family friends kind of moved out because they were able to like get out of the neighborhood and like move to a little bit more affluent areas and buy houses, and some of us weren't, so we kind of stayed. So yeah, like definitely like elementary, junior high, it was just all of us together. And then, around high school, the community started to split up a little bit. Yeah.
What kind of struggles did you have growing up?
Yeah, I'd say like for me personally, a little bit more of like an identity crisis. I guess I didn't have a lot of like Cambodian role models to look up to. So I tried to find my role models elsewhere in, media and celebrities and
Hmm.
sports, like that. And my parents very much embraced the Canadian life. Like they didn't speak a lot of Khmer at home because they were also trying to
Oh,
learn English. So
uh-huh.
we spoke a lot of English at home. So I like my friends always made fun of me because I was like the one that knew the least Khmer out of all of us, because yeah, like I could understand it, but I couldn't speak it that well because my parents were
Uh-huh.
speaking English and we're going to school and speaking English. So I started to like kind of identify a lot with more like, yeah, like Western role models. So it was like my friends always say like, oh, like Cheetah's like the whitest out of all of like our friends, because I like looked up to like Martha Stewart and Nina Garten and watched, and yeah, they always made fun. Yeah, right? They were still like, oh, I'm like the Cambodian Martha Stewart, but and I would do host dinner parties, but it'd always be like I'd be making white people food, and so I kind of and I listened to Celine Dion because my dad loves Celine Dion, so we're a Celine Dion family. Like we love Celine Dion. I'm not going to apologize for that, but listen to like Celine Dion and that stuff. So I think growing up, I just was like, I always kind of felt like I didn't fit in sometimes with my friends because I was into things like the Food Network and Celine Dion, and I love things like I listened to like classical music, and I loved opera, and I kind of and I played a lot of like I loved hockey, and so there was always sort of that sort of like and not really knowing how to speak a lot of Khmer. So I think for me that was one of the things that when I look back on, I'm just kind of like because you can always do 2020. I wish I took more time back then to embrace like learning how to cook Cambodian food and speaking more Khmer. Like now, I wish I could speak Khmer. Like my Khmer is not great. I can understand it well enough, but I'm just like, oh, if I could, like, I wish I'd taken the time to actually like remember and learn it. But
Well, you're
usually
still
what
young.
happens when
There's
you're an
still
adult.
time.
Yeah.
And it's great that you're embracing your heritage now through cooking.
Yeah, like it's I mean like when I moved to Vancouver, again like I was exposed to like the scene in Vancouver, like the culinary scene is amazing. There's so many different types of, cultural different cultures and their food, like Japanese, so many Japanese restaurants, like I had sushi for the first time in Vancouver, Korean, Indian, like so for the first little bit I could really embrace like just checking out all these amazing restaurants, but then I get homesick because I'd be like, you know what, just have this crazy, like I really want like salami chukrung, like I haven't had that in forever. And then I look and try and find Cambodian restaurants, and then the ones that I did find in Vancouver always kind of like Cambodian Vietnamese hybrid restaurants, so they'd have katil and like salami yuen and things like that. It looked like, but like no salami chukrung, no cod, things like that. So I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, all right, I kind of remember how my mom makes it. So let me attempt it, and started just trying to figure out on my own. And it just was never like, just something isn't tasting right. Something just isn't. And then that's when I'm like, I had this epiphany. I'm like, if my, God forbid something happens to mom, and I know something, nobody lives forever, but like, if I don't learn how to make this stuff myself, when she passes away, I'm not going to know. I'm not going to be able to eat this, it's like amazing foods that I love ever again. So I just started, like that's when I realized, okay, I need to actually make a conscious effort of actually listening to my mom, watching her, asking her how she makes it, and then trying to do it on my, do it on my own. And I would call her up sometimes too and be like, does this video, like, does this look right? Does this look like it's supposed to? And she's like, yeah, I think so. I was like, just taste it. What does it taste like? Because, like they can't give us like measurements. It's like, okay, now put like a little bit of the like jade. I'm just like, okay, well, how much? It's like, just a little bit and then taste it. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
That's how we cook.
Yeah. And that's why you just have to taste as you go. And I think that's why I'm like terrible baker, because you can't do that with baking. Right? It has to be so exact. But like cooking, you just got to taste as you go and like realize like, okay, something's missing here. Yeah.
Now, I have a question about your friends. You mentioned that your parents are very strict. Can you tell us in what way? Because you said that they embrace Canadian culture.
Yeah. In a sense that like they were, so there were things that they embraced and then definitely things that they didn't. So things like parties and going out with friends and things like that, not so much. So, I think my parents just had it in their head that get good grades, go to a good school, get a good job after you go to university. So they were very like, you need to study. And so and I was a good student. Like I had great, like really good grades, but because of that, like I never really went out with friends that they didn't trust or know, like Cambodian friends. And if I did go to the mall, it was like, whose parents are taking you there, what time, when are they coming back? And definitely like in high school, junior high and high school, like I didn't go to any parties. Like I never experienced, that life of like going to like a party with a bunch of friends where there's no parents there. I tried to sneak out to a party once, and my parents found, like, it was crazy. Like they found out, like they found my little like cute little address book that I had, and they started calling because I said I was at a girlfriend's house. They called to see if I was there. Obviously I wasn't. So then they started calling my like address book until they found out where I was, and like that kind of like invasion of privacy. And I also Because I think for me, like, I'm a good kid. Like, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I just want to go hang out with my friends and experience this. But they were afraid I was going to drink and do drugs and things like that. Like, I honestly didn't actually have my first drink until I was 18 years old, like on my 18th birthday. Like, my real first drink was
that
like
when you were at UBC?
No, because UBC you have to be 19. So that was fun, turning 18 in Vancouver. It was when I came home for Christmas. My birthday's in December, and went out with my friends for my birthday, my 18th birthday here in Alberta, and actually, got to have my first drink. So,
I completely forgot that in Alberta, the legal drinking age is 18. So for our American listeners, in British Columbia and other parts of Canada, the legal drinking age is 19. I think Quebec is 18 as well.
Yeah, so Alberta and Quebec, it's 18. So so because my birthday is a December birthday, like I was technically 17 my first semester at UBC. So I turned 18 in Vancouver, which like meant nothing because I couldn't do like legally go to a bar or anything in Vancouver. So then I came home for Christmas. Yeah, so it was just, again, like they were just worried I was going to fall into the wrong crowd and that kind of stuff. And so when I went to university, it's like they weren't there. And that's when I'm like, all right, I can kind of just be free a little bit and get to discover who am I and what do I like, and just kind of felt this like weight sort of lifted off my shoulders of having, parents constantly looking over you. And like, I get it. I get why they did that, and they did their best, but it was just like,
I know you could have gone the other direction and just blew them off and not care and just
and that's the thing. I'm just like, I'm a good person, I'm a good kid, just like give me a little trust here,
right?
That I'm not going to ruin my life.
So I have two questions relating to your university years. Did you keep in touch with your friends in Alberta while you were in university? Like, I friends when you went back?
I think moving away really helped sort of make me realize like who I wanted to keep in touch with. So I definitely kept in touch with, there was a certain like friend group that I call them I don't have sisters, I just have one brother, but there's a certain friend group like I call them my sisters because I constantly kept in touch with them, and then it just made I was very like, that first year of university was really hard, so I think I spent a lot of time like keeping in touch with them through like, phone calls and IMs and things like that while I was making friends in Vancouver. But like I honestly, like the core group of friends that I grew up with, I'm still friends with now, and it's been really fun to be on like this journey with them that it's just like crazy thing, like, oh my god, we've been friends since we were like 5 years old. It's almost
You mentioned that you were the only person in your group of friends that went to university?
And then now I'm thinking of like somebody else too, but there was about like 3 of us that I would say of us like growing up that did like the university route. And I know like 2 friends went to tried to do like college and things like that, but like like full on university there was like myself, and then I'm just thinking of like 2 other like brothers that were in the same family that did as well. It was, I think, again, like and I'm just like the 2 guys that I'm thinking of, like, we were kind of like, so it's like the nerds who did really good, and then everyone else was kind of just like coasting through junior high and high school. And I know there's a few of my friends that definitely had the grades to go to university, but the cost of it like
prohibited them.
They didn't want to do student loans. Like I took out student loans, and I was fully aware that I'm gonna have to take out student loans. I like only just paid off my student loans about 3 or 4 years ago. Like I took out a lot. Like it was so. And then, like, that's understandable, like, that you don't want to take, like, that burden. So they wanted to get to work, like, and start working right away. And, they don't have debt. I have debt. So what?
You got a lot out of it.
Yeah, I loved my experience at university. It was just really cool to be kind of in an environment where, where you're encouraged to have a higher level of thinking. You're developing these these different
critical
life skills, and also like meeting people that have the same interests as you as well. Like my major was classical studies, so study of Greek and Roman history, and it's like I didn't really know people in junior high school that were interested in that kind of stuff. Like I was just always interested in Greek and Roman mythology, and then I get to university, I'm like, oh my god, I can like study this full time. Like this is so cool. And then meeting other people who are really interested in history and then archaeology, and it was just kind of cool to know like, oh, I'm not alone. Like there's this like niche of people that are also interested in this kind of stuff, and just like, you know, that experience of meeting people, like-minded people, was like really cool.
Yeah.
And to know like, yeah, like you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that have the same interests as you was, yeah, kind of eye-opening. And just again, being free to make my own decisions too.
I just want to clarify for our American listeners, because in Canada, college and university are different things. And I think in the US, it's interchangeable.
I think, yeah.
Yeah,
like
because college is like a trade school here in Canada.
Yeah, and like university is where you're getting your Bachelor of Arts and your master's and all that sort of stuff.
So why did you study classical studies?
I just realized if I'm going to go to university, I wanted to do something that I was interested in, that was fun. So I mean, I majored in classical studies, but then I also minored in poli-sci, so something useful my parents would consider useful. Because like, you know, if I'm going to spend, that was sort of like my first epiphany. If I'm going to spend, this is my money that I'm spending, I want to spend it on something that I'm really interested in, and I want to enjoy it. So classical studies was just something I loved it. Like I think of it as like, when I retire, I can like move to Greece or Italy and work at like a museum and say I put my classical studies degree to good use, so that because like there will always be museums studying Greek and Roman architecture. But it was just like I just wanted to enjoy it, and I did. And I mean, I'm not doing anything related to that now, but it doesn't matter to me because those like 4 years were so much fun, and it just exposed me to something that like I never would have known about or had anyone tell me.
Discovering yourself. It was a period of discovery.
It totally is. And like, and I did political science because like, I mean, I thought I was going to go into journalism. So like, I should like have a poli-sci degree. And then my plan was I'll get my master's in journalism and I'll do something news related. Like that's what I kind of thought of that route I was going to go towards, and something respectable that my parents would, you know, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. I nor do what I want to like be a doctor or a lawyer. I'm like, well, but I'm like, being a journalist is something like respectable. But, you know, that was always sort of my plan. And then I got a job working at a wine shop part-time, and then that completely changed my life trajectory.
Fact, your boss at that wine shop
I know
my
Neil, right?
boss now.
It's so crazy when you told me, like Cheata. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my gosh, you must know Neil.
Yeah. So he's director of sales, and he says hello.
Yep, Neil Punchin and Matt Sherlock gave me my first wine job.
So this wine shop, are you talking about Kits?
Yeah, Kitsilano Wine Cellar. Yeah, like I was always working at like little coffee shops part-time, and then I was actually working at this coffee shop that was like right across the street from Kitsilano Wine Cellar. But I'm just like, okay, I just want to try something different. And yeah, I saw they had like a help wanted sign. And I'm like, all right, I don't know anything about wine. I didn't drink wine, you know, and my parents weren't drinkers. So it's not like I grew up with that wine culture. But I'm like, a sales job is a sales job. Worst comes to worst, I can just be a cashier. That's totally fine. This is just a part-time job for university anyways. And yeah, I applied, and I remember like being interviewed by like Neil and Matt, or like in the back room, or just like sitting on boxes, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I just like, I cringe now when I think about, because the only wine I had at that point was like, again, like my girlfriend's drinking like sweet Aussie Shirazes. So like, I now when I look back, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I told them that my favorite wine at the moment was Yellowtail Shiraz, and they still hired me because I'm like, it's like, oh yeah, I really like, I don't know, like Yellowtail Shiraz, or like...
Hey, no hate against Yellowtail Shiraz drinkers. It's a good introduction to wine, I suppose. That's how you got into wine.
That was how I got into wine. It's like, I think I was able to convince them. I'm like, okay, I don't know a lot about wine, but I do know a lot about food, and I love food, and I know food and wine go hand in hand. And luckily, I think they were desperate and needed somebody, so they're like, let's just hire her. And I think it was the best decision they ever made because I was awesome. I'm a fast learner, and I really was. Like my first shift, and this is the thing that was great about Kids on a Wine Cellar that I take with me now is there's like, you're not going to learn anything if you don't taste. And they were so big on staff education and having a budget to like open bottles of wines for the staff to try. And that's something that I've taken like with every management retail job. I'm just like, there has to be a staff education budget. Like that's non-negotiable. Like, because people can't sell if they don't get to try it, and they're never going to learn if they don't get to try it. So I remember my first shift, Matt was like, oh yeah, when you get a chance, we have a bottle of wine in the bag. Make sure you try it. And it was a Burgundy. So it was a Pinot Noir from Lucien Lemoyne. And it was like nothing I had ever tasted before. And then that's when it like clicked.
That was your
When I
aha
tasted,
moment.
like, I had no idea that like wine could be this good.
Uh-huh.
That it was just like so layered and so complex, and it wasn't bitter or sweet. It didn't have that weird, like alcoholic aftertaste. Like it was just so
So
good.
was this
And
just
at
base
that
Burgundy?
and it was just their base Burgundy. Like I just had never, again, all I had drank from with my friends was either like sweet Rieslings or like sweet Aussie Shirazes. Like that was the first time I'd had true Burgundy, and it was just a Lucien Lemoyne Bourgogne. And I think at that time it was like $50 on the shelf. So again, that was also at that time the most expensive bottle I ever tried. And then after that, I was hooked. So after that, I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe wine is like this. After my first year, I just started like studying things on my own. They started entrusting me with like helping out, like receiving invoices and helping out with like, I got to do like buying the wines from like BC producers. So I got to do like the wine buying for the BC section. And then I think within like 2 years, might have been like within like after like 2 or 3 years, like Neil had moved on, Matt had moved on, and so I got promoted to like to the assistant manager within 2 or 3 years.
While you're still in school.
While I'm still in school, while I was like going from zero wine knowledge to then I did my WSET level 3. Like I just skipped levels 1 and 2 because I knew like just working at Kit's Wine Cellar. So I did the level 3 so I could get that certification. And then after I graduated university, I was like, I think this is like, I'm really good at this. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
So how long how long were you in the industry for before you decided to do your cooking thing?
Yeah, I've been like, I started at Kit's Wine when I was 20. Like, when did I leave Vancouver? I left Vancouver in 2012. So after I graduated university, I still stuck around for a little bit. So yeah, I was at Kit's for about seven years. So it's been like 2005 that I started with them. So yeah, I've been in the industry since I was 20. I'm 37 now. So I mean, I'm still technically I'm still working part-time at another liquor store here, but it's like almost 2 decades of my life.
In the wine industry, you were the buyer for major boutique retailers.
Yeah, so I've always been sort of on the retail side and the buying side. I find it's working for an agency, you're kind of stuck with your portfolio, and being on the retail side, you just get to try so many more wines. So yeah, so I've been either like on the management and buying side for like companies like Everything Wine. So I suppose when Everything Wine came to Alberta, I helped open that store. I was with them. They were great with them for close to 6 years. And then when the Wine and Beyonds first started opening up in Alberta as well, like I opened up the first Wine and Beyond in Edmonton. And then, so I've always sort of been on that retail buying side. I did do a little like stint in the Okanagan because I'd never worked for a winery before and kind of wanted to see what that was like. So I moved to the Okanagan for about 1.5 years to work at a winery. And you know what? And sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But now I know that like living in a wine town it's not a big, like I'm a city girl. Like I need to live in a city, and that just wasn't my lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it because now I know.
Mhm.
Now that, that curiosity was itched, and it was really cool to work for a winery. But at the same time, it's kind of the same as like working with an agency. I was just like so tied to and a winery is even smaller. So I only had, 7-ish wines that I'd be talking about every
Mhm.
single day. And I realized my palate was not, like my palate wasn't great
Mhm.
for those 2 years because I was just tasting the same wines.
Right,
And then
right.
in the Okanagan, you just had like the BCLDB. So then the quality of other wines that I could buy from other regions wasn't great. So I noticed like my palate kind of taking a dive, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to come back home. And then, so after I left the Okanagan, that's kind of when I really started to be like, okay, do I want to be in the wine industry? And that's when I started thinking about Cambodian cooking more and
So when did you go to
putting
the
recipes
Okanagan? What
down.
year?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah, 2019. And that was like right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that was also very isolating to be already in a small town with not a lot of people. And then the pandemic. So you're trapped inside all the
Mhm.
time. And that's actually when I started asking my mom for more help with cooking, where I really like during the pandemic, I just started cooking Cambodian food just way more. I'm like, let's take advantage of this now. And that's when I really started, just like calling up my mom a lot more and being like, okay, today I'm going to make plia. So give me your steps of how you make plia secco, and then I'm going to make it myself. And I'm going to actually start writing down how I have been trying to write down recipes, and I'm like, oh God, it is so hard because every time I make it the second time, it's not
different.
the
Yeah.
same. It's just not the same. But yeah, and that's when I'm like, and I just started doing like videos on my own Instagram, and people just commenting, being like, and it was a lot of my friends being like, oh my God, that looks so good, or oh my God, like I miss that. Because now they've all moved away and they're not living with their moms either. And they're like, oh, I loved it when my mom used to make that. And just start seeing like, well, you guys should learn how to make it too. That's kind of the point. Like, it's actually not that hard. Like, once I actually started making like these recipes that I think I had in my head as a kid seemed like so daunting, like slamochu kruum. Like, it looked like it was so difficult to make slamochu kruum. Then once my mom just like walked me through it, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it isn't that hard. There's lots of steps and components to it, but I'm like, okay, this isn't as, because I'd be like, that's it. And she's like, yeah, that's it. Just now let it cook, and then you just go back and just taste it and see if you need to adjust. I'm like, okay, that was like easier than I thought it was gonna be. Huh.
When you were in university, you said that you wanted to be a journalist, and it was when you got the wine job, you decided wine was your path.
Yeah.
Did you ever question it after that?
I do sometimes, in a sense, or I guess not really question it and think of more like a what if I didn't take that route scenario.
Uh-huh.
Rather than say like I think questioning things that maybe I made a mistake in life, but I don't think I did. But I do like to think about what it would have been like if I became a journalist, or if I decided to go that route. And I think now, like, all of my close friends that I have at the moment that weren't the Cambodian ones that I grew up with, like, I met through this industry. So I think like, oh my God, if I didn't go the wine route, like, I wouldn't have met all these amazing people that are still like in my life today. And also, journalism is so different now. Like, I was like, oh my, I might, if I had gone the journalism route, I might not have a job, either. But yeah, I guess I really think, life happens in a way that's meant to happen for you. And, you have plans, and then you just never know, like, how things can get uprooted. Like I said, like, my parents didn't drink at all. So it's not like I had wine in my life in any way. And honestly, if I didn't decide to apply for that job there, like, I don't even know if I'd be a wine drinker now if I never worked at Kids Wine Cellar, because it wasn't really ever a part of my life before.
Yeah. The reason why I asked you that was because you mentioned in your email to me about advice to your younger self. You said, I'm going to read this quote, I think the main advice I would give to my younger self is to not focus so much on comparing success against other people. To trust in the journey that I will be on will lead to what I'm meant to do in life that makes me happy. Comparing yourself to others' ideas of success doesn't matter. Everyone has so many things going on in their lives on the inside that they don't necessarily show on the outside. Someone else's metric of success shouldn't matter to you personally. What matters is taking the time to find the people, the job, the hobbies that bring purpose to your life. I chose a career that doesn't make me much money, but it has brought me joy, skills, and knowledge that I didn't know I could possess. It has brought me lifelong friendships and mentorships that I am forever grateful for, end quote. So that's why I asked that, because you sound like you're very happy in your decisions. My next question is, who were you comparing yourself to?
I think I was just kind of comparing myself to other Cambodians now, and I didn't know. Like, I think my Cambodian mamas when we were younger, they were always comparing our lives with like other families' lives. And my parents, we always lived in apartments all our lives, and then so it's like when another family got a house, it was always like, oh, like they were able to buy a house, or look at like that, like, oh, they just bought a Lexus, and then you're feeling bad about yourself because you like, our family doesn't have a Lexus, our family isn't buying a house. But then you think about, once again, like, we don't know what else is going on in their life. Like, it might seem like they're successful, but maybe they're super depressed inside because they're like, and I think that's like my parents just kind of, and I mean, not just my parents, but I think a lot of our parents like built success based on very material goods, and they just never really understood my choice to go into the wine industry. And like for me, like I mean, I'll toot my own horn. Like I'm very good at this. Like I'm a great educator. I know a lot about wine. Like people ask for my advice. Like I was sought after when I came back to Edmonton to like I was getting job offers, and like
you were on the radio. You were on TV.
Yes, I was. Yeah, like, and so it was just. I'm like,
and you failed to mention that
you
teach WSET as
well. I teach the WSET courses. Yeah, I did that like in Vancouver. I've done that, and I'm still doing that here. So for me, yeah, like like my success might not be financial success, and yeah, I don't own a house right now, but like I don't really care that I don't own a house, because I know a lot of people that do own houses and they hate their jobs, or they do own a house and they're not happy because they're got huge bills that they have to pay, and and I think that's why I'm like, it's not about other people, it is just really about yourself and what makes you happy. And if you find that right path, then if you haven't found that path, that's okay to just keep going on that journey until you do. And like here I am, nearly 40 years old, and I've decided that I might be going on a different career path now. And it's scary, and I'm again not going to make any money off of it either, probably anytime soon. Yeah, and it's it's really cool to also see more Cambodian creators out there, like. Honestly, like kind of what's given me the drive to kind of make this sort of like career switch is because there's so many more Cambodian people out there, showcasing our food. Like I follow like Charles Gavino.
Oh, I love his
and like
Instagram.
Spring Roll Fever. Like those guys, I love them. I love seeing what they're doing. And I think Charles was on like Master Chef, or Top Chef or Master Chef, like one of the shows in like on the stage showcasing Cambodian cuisine. And then you've got like
are you connected with Janti?
She was on like the
Janti, he's the Top Chef Canada.
So, no, I'm just like, I just follow all these like amazing like people from on Instagram and just like post and be like, you guys are awesome, and like like what like my Renaissance is doing with his page,
that's amazing stuff.
So it's just like, it's really inspiring to see that like we're also supporting each other, because I think I don't know about you, like I think when we were growing up, there was this sort of like families always comparing and sort of like pitting us against each other and things like that. And now that we're adults, we're like, we have enough, things going on in lives where people are pitting other people against each other. Like people don't know a lot about Cambodian history or Cambodian food. Like we should be trying to uplift one another and support one another, and not like not being like, oh my God, you're successful, I'm going to try to bring you down so that I can be more successful.
Yeah, like there's limited
enough space for
resources
all of
for
us to be
success or
successful.
something. So we're all doing our own thing.
And I just think it's like great to see like that. Like we as a Cambodian community should really try to come together more and uplift and support each other and really showcase Cambodia. Just, I kind of feel like there's sort of a little bit of like validation when you get Western publications and media outlets sort of finally like recognizing us. So it's because it doesn't happen very often, and you're seeing like, all the restaurants in Long Beach getting amazing recognition and things like that too. Like this amazing Cambodian community in Long Beach, and I think it's great. And so I just kind of wanted to do my part and help in that way.
In Edmonton, though.
Yeah, and I will. In Edmonton, yeah. So
gotta represent up there,
which
too.
is, like not a place you think of when you think of Cambodia. Exactly. Yeah.
So who inspired you growing up? We talked about who inspires you now, the current generation of Cambodians who are online showcasing our heritage and our cuisine. What about growing up? You mentioned Martha Stewart. There were a lot of Western influences.
Oh, yeah. I watched a lot of Martha Stewart. I watched a lot of the Food Network, like Martha Stewart, Ina Garten, even like Rachel Ray. So I watched a lot of Food Network growing up, and so those were sort of like my like food culinary heroes that I looked up to. I think I just loved also like just the aesthetic of Martha, of like everything was just so pretty and beautiful, and she does have a way of like a very calming way of speaking where you feel like you can cook anything and make anything. That wasn't difficult. And and then I was a big sports, like I love sports, and I wrote for the UBC paper, like when I was like the student paper, when I was in university. So I watched a lot of TSN and Sports Network, and a lot of those broadcasters were kind of, my idols growing up too. But yeah, it was like, again, it was always like sort of people that I saw on TV that I wanted to try to emulate and that I looked up to, because I looked up to my parents and see in terms of like their work ethic. Like I learned like the way that they worked and how hard they worked. But when I think about it now, I should have considered them more of my role models. But you always kind of try to look elsewhere. You don't always think they're your role models are there in front of you. But now when I look back, I'm like, I definitely got my work ethic from my parents. That's for sure. They're still working now. I don't think they could retire. I think they'd be bored with their life if they tried to retire. Yeah.
Did you work part-time when you were in high school?
I did, yeah. I worked part-time, and in high school. I got my first job when I was 14 at Booster Juice, making smoothies. So yeah, as soon as I turned 14, I was like, you can work in Alberta when you're 14. So I got my first job, and I always worked part-time in high school, and still got good grades, and always like managed. So it was always sort of like, coffee shops and little like cafes and things like that I can work after school, played sports after school too. I was on like the volleyball team and basketball team. So just why I was always just like, I'm doing all this extracurricular stuff and I'm still getting good grades, and you won't let me go to parties? Like, come on.
What do you want to do in 5 years? Like, where do you see yourself? What's your dream right now? Because it sounds like it's just getting started.
It's just getting started, yeah. So I think in 5 years, I would love to have a cookbook out of my family recipes. So I'd love to have a little like Canadian, Cambodian cookbook out. I would love to hopefully be in a place where I'm doing catering and private dinners full time. Like I would love this to be a full-time instead of a part-time gig, and hopefully doing larger scale Cambodian cuisine and wine pairing dinners. Like I would love to be booked up of full-time, of like either big catering gigs or private dinners, like in a way that I can cook for people. I'm knowing a lot of people in the restaurant industry because people are like, when are you going to open a Cambodian restaurant? And I'm just like, I don't want to open up a restaurant. It's a lot of work.
No vacation.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'm like, I don't think I want to open a restaurant. I think more pop-up events would be kind of more my thing, and doing these private dinners, being able to be,
Not that a lot of work
people
would scare you. It's just not your cup of tea, the restaurant industry.
Like this is the like realism part of it. I'm like, yeah, I've talked to, I have a lot of restaurant friends, and they're like, I don't know if I want their life, that work-life balance. Yeah.
Can you give us maybe 2 or 3 pairings that you would recommend that people wouldn't necessarily think of?
Yeah, I just did my pop-up recently, and I made and one of the things is I wanted to have wines on the list that paired well with the foods, but weren't necessarily wines that people would normally think of with Asian cuisine, because I think we just kind of get lumped. Asian cuisine goes well with Riesling, Gewürztraminer, and it's like all Asian cuisine. But like Salamachukruung is one where there's so much going on, and you can make it so many different ways. But if I was doing like the decked out Salamachukruung that has like beef and tripe and like jalapeno peppers and red peppers, and that, and eggplant, and like maybe like if you've got some liver in there too, or heart, like I know my mom likes to put all that when she's making like the special Salamachukruung, because you've got so much going on there with like tamarind for the sour, and then like you have like berhok for the salty, and then you've got like lemongrass and lime leaves and everything that goes into the kruong paste. Like it's a very rich dish. So you definitely want to make sure you're matching like intensity of flavor. And this is where this will be one of the few times, like with my own like bias, I don't drink a lot of Zinfandel, but this is one of the few times I think like a California Zinfandel would work really well, because it's big and juicy and fruit forward. It'll sort of offset the savory umami-ness of Salamachukruung. And a Zinfandel with a little bit of age has a little bit softer tannins that it wouldn't clash with a lot of the gamier meats in there, and it's big enough and full enough that it'll stand up to the beef. And just because you want to match that flavor intensity, because if you had a Pinot might be just too light. That's Salamachukruung would just overpower it. So this is where with food and wine pairings, you want both to make both taste better. So I wouldn't normally drink a Cali Zin on my own, but like having a glass, I would with Salamachukruung, because I think it'll pair really well. So that's kind of like a little unusual one that people might not think of. And if you can find a Cali Zin with a little bit of age too,
for the
not too, but I
tannins.
think the intensity and the softer tannins would work really well. And then with Cathedral, you can totally go the Riesling and Gewürztraminer. It's obviously going to work. But I kind of like things that are have higher acidity and a little bit more refreshing. So it's almost like having that extra bit of lime that you put on Cathedral. So things I don't know, I'm just really into Chacolí right now, Chacolina from the Basque region in Spain, because it's so minerally, very high acid, very citrusy, that I think it works really well.
I don't think I've ever tried that wine.
Oh yeah, you gotta look at it. It's it's a trendy-ish. I don't know, I'm just seeing more Chacolí or Chacolina sort of in the market. So yeah, you should definitely go and look where you're seeing more of them. So yeah, Chacolí is just super light and fresh, high acid, minerally. They're great. And then Vino Verde, again, kind of same idea, just something light and fresh with Cathedral to sort of cut through the richness of the broth, especially if you're doing beef bones and oxtail and things like that. Or Zabibo has been another fun little grape varietal that I like drinking. Zabibo is from Sicily specifically. So Zabibo from Sicily kind of has a lot of those aromatics that you get from Gewürztraminer, but again, it's a little bit drier, a little more floral. I just had one recently that was very it had this lychee note to it, but then it also had this sort of durian sort of sting to it, which is really cool. But that with curry, a Zabibo and Khmer curry, which is And like our curries are a little bit
Yeah.
sweeter. They're not like super spicy. So you kind of have that sweetness from like the stone fruit of on the tropical fruit, the Zabibo, working really well. A little bit harder to find, but it's just something a little bit like different and fun. And they're not expensive, which is great. And it tastes good. And again, like I think a lot with my wine pairings too. I'm just more conscious of like it's great to have a special bottle of wine, but again, I'm always thinking about like the everyday. Like I don't buy $70 of wine all the time. Like that's a special treat. Like I just want like a really good bottle that's true to the varietal and the region that I can buy for 20, $25 and buy that multiple times in the week and not just, one special time. So I'm very conscious trying to find like really good value wines for pairings.
Well, you're
as
lucky
well.
you live in Alberta because cost of wine is a lot cheaper than in BC.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
And with the 25% tariffs
when I moved,
going on all
yeah. Let's say it just means we gotta drink more European wine, which is I'm totally okay with that.
Would you pair like what is Zinfandel in Italy again? Primitivo? Yeah.
Primitivo, yeah, Primitivo for sure. Because it's just got, I mean, even like and Primitivo's got a little bit more acidity to it as well. So like that, yeah, totally. Like
Very
a nice
cool.
Primitivo, a little bit juicier, and it tends to have a little bit more of that dried fruit character. I find the Primitivos from Italy. Yeah, that would totally work. Yeah.
What is your goal with your cooking endeavor?
Honestly, I think it's just to, I mean, if I can on a bigger scale get some media publication to recognize it or to write about me or to feature me, that would be great. But it really is, I just want Cambodian cuisine to be thought like to just become a natural part of everyone's lexicon in a sense. I mean, even like my friends who are foodies, right? Like I'll talk to them and like, I mean, they love it when I cook for them, but like even they're like not like trying to make these dishes on their own at home. Like it's still, so I think I just want to be able to help do my part to start just to get Cambodian cuisine thought of the same way as Thai and Vietnamese. And like, you're starting to see more attention put on like Filipino cuisine. Like I'm just starting to really see like, like Filipino cuisines become really popular, and you like Food and Wine magazine and Bon Appetit and all these like YouTubers and Instagrammers making Filipino adobo. And I think I'm just like kind of waiting like when is our cuisine gonna be featured in that sense, and like when are other social media people who aren't Cambodian, when are they gonna start being like, let's make Cambodian ifaklat. Let's start making and I think so for me, I mean, again, that would be if in 5 years from now people are just like thinking, they're just at home being like, all right, we're gonna make baklahong, and and it just becomes a natural part of
what would you have
their
with
daily
baklahong?
life. Like, well, this is where I go classic. This is where like baklahong is spicy and it's umami and rich. Like you got all like crab and shrimp, and it's it's stinky, it's spicy, but it's still fresh and light, like it's veggies. And this is where I go a very classic Mosel Riesling, Oschlese or Spätlese, because you want that sweetness and to help kind of offset that spiciness. Because I'm a wimp when it comes to baklahong. Like I am such a wimp. I love the spice, but also I will be like crying when I see people put like 15, 20 chilies and it's like, oh my God. So I want that sweetness to help kind of coat my tongue. So yeah, this is where I'm like, but it's gotta be Mosel. I don't know. I love Mosel Rieslings because they're just so much lighter, and even when it's, an Oschlese level where there's more sweetness, it's still, I just find for the Mosel, they're still just like not heavy and just like really bright and fresh. So yeah, I definitely go, you want sweetness. So yeah,
I'm going to
Mosel
put all
Riesling.
this in the show notes so that people know exactly what to look for. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I think you're off to a great start showcasing Cambodian cuisine. And I'm so happy that you are recognizing this in Edmonton too, because not a city where
Yeah.
people think
No,
that
it's been really cool.
Cambodian cuisine is big, right?
Yeah, I'm just it's been, I mean, great feedback. Like the pop-up that I did Katil Phnom Penh, so with like, pork broth and shrimp and then I also did Noput Chok. And yeah, and both over like, I was able to chat with people at the pop-up and it sold out really quickly too. Like it was great. Like we did 2 seatings and did about like 25 covers for each seating. And when I posted, like I just posted it on my own Instagram, and then Get Cooking also helped out and posted it with their newsletter. But we like sold out the seatings within like 2 days. And so it was really cool to just see that, okay, people are interested. And then when I was talking to a few of the people at the pop-ups, some of them had been to Cambodia, some haven't, but a lot of people, yeah, this is like their first time trying Cambodian food. Like I said, like they've had Katil before, but not Katil Phnom Penh. And most of them had never had Nong Juk before. So it was, that's 50 people now in Edmonton that have tried Nong Juk. So next one,
What's
50
the biggest
more.
catering event you've done?
That was my biggest one. Yeah. Like I've just been doing like small dinners, of like groups of like, of 10 just to give myself. I also like more of the intimate setting as well with the dinner because I don't know, maybe it's just like the educator in me, but I like to be able to chat with people. I think I'm still in, or like, Cambodian cuisine is still in that stage too, where we do need to educate people about it. And I like to talk about the dishes. So I just find with like, an intimate group, like when you're doing private dinners, you have that time to explain each dish and explain what makes it unique. Where like the pop-up was great, but it was definitely like restaurant setting. Like I was getting orders and I was like pushing them out, and it was only kind of like after all the orders were out and I could see people like finish eating that I could go and chat with people. But I was only able to chat like a little bit, where with the private dinner you can explain every dish and explain what you're doing and how you're making it so that they hopefully make it on their own too.
So if someone wanted a private dinner,
you can send me an email. So hello@cheatacookscambodian.com. You can go to my website too. It's a little under construction right now, but all my information is on there. But yeah, send me an email. Hit me up on Instagram if you want to as well at Cheata Cooks Cambodian. I will also be starting to sell products. So I'm also looking at doing markets, but I will start doing some like pre-orders and things for my spring rolls and and looking into like making krung paste for sale and things like that for people too. But yeah, right now it's just like straight up send me a DM on Instagram or send me an email at hello@cheatacookscambodian.com.
How far do you ship?
Oh, it's just in Edmonton right now. I haven't figured out like shipping. Sorry, everyone else, just Edmontonians at the moment until I figure all that stuff out.
It's really exciting to see this.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Like I think right now, but the biggest hurdle is just getting over my own fears and just kind of like now it's like, all right, let's just do it.
So you mentioned catering as well. Are you open to doing that now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like kind of doing if you're looking for businesses like staff lunches and things like that, like that's definitely something I am also looking at doing as well. So yeah, bringing lunches to you, dinners to you, or to your like event, and just any way that I can get Cambodian food out there to the fine folks in Edmonton for now. Just Edmonton.
Well, Calgary's not too far away, right? Yeah. So you can expand your market that way.
No, it's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we should be wrapping up. What are 1 or 2 things that you want to share with listeners to take away from your story?
I think, one of the biggest things is just to trust in yourself. And, everybody's going through things. Everyone has doubt. But if you really believe in what you're doing, just to trust in that process and don't let anybody bring you down or try to tell you that you're not on the right path. I think we instinctually know if we are or not, and we know when we're not to get out of that. And to surround yourself with people that do inspire you. Yeah, I think that's been a big thing for me is, I've got wonderful female friends out here that are business owners and entrepreneurs, and they've really inspired me to go out on my own. And then again, social media can be terrible, but also, I would have not known about these amazing Cambodian creators if it wasn't for Instagram. That have really inspired me. So I think there are some good things about social media, and try again finding that little community. So I would say, yeah, just trust in yourself, trust in your process, and really surround yourself with people that inspire you and that you can really look up to continue on your journey. Yeah.
Cheata, I'm so excited to witness the big strides you'll make in Edmonton, given how much you've accomplished by only doing this on the side before. I know starting something new is scary, especially when you're so good at what you currently do. But like you said, if it doesn't fill your cup of tea anymore, then you know it's time to move on. And I guess in your case, it's your glass of wine. With more time to focus on your mission, Cheata, I have all the faith in you. I look forward to buying some of your pre-made Cambodian food here in Vancouver one day soon and seeing your cookbook published. I know the Khmer Voices community is cheering you on. Listeners, if you're in the midst of a career transition, what's the scariest feeling you're facing? Let me know, whether it's leaving a comment on Spotify or on other social media channels. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok with the handle Khmer Voices, and I'm also on Threads. Don't think many people use that, but I am. So hit me up there too, Khmer Voices. Thank you so much again for listening. Please leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast, especially if it's on Apple and Spotify, if you haven't already. And we will be back in 2 weeks.